with the slide continuing last week in the sixth straight week of Raw viewership declining, while at the same time SmackDown is hovering around record low numbers every other week. The WWF coming a day after closing out the Austin and Hunter vs. Taker and Kane program at the Judgment Day pay-per-view, looking to go in a new direction to refresh and pick up the TV product before panic sets in with the ball rolling further down the hill, as Steve Austin opened Raw with a promo bragging about retaining the title last night to bring out Chris Jericho to put himself in line as the new contender for the title in a potential first-time Austin vs. Jericho feud, starting a brawl which quickly brought out Hunter and Benoit on each side to set up the tag titles match for the main event tonight, in a match built as one of the most important in Jericho and Benoit's career, with the chance to elevate their status into the top tier. With Raw, despite coming a day after a pay-per-view, not seeing an additional boost with a 3.6 opening quarter, the lowest unopposed in years, with one positive note being that due to more viewers per home tuning into Raw on the night, the opening viewership increased from last Monday to start at around 5.1 million viewers. Rhino vs. Big Show for the Hardcore title in a match going 5 minutes, saw Raw's second quarter doing the usual pickup of around 600,000 viewers to enter the 4 rating range, and while the WWF looks to heat up the TV product again after the recent constant viewership declines, Rock continues to be in the mainstream headlines while filming his first lead role, along with promoting his debut movie appearance in The Mummy Returns after a record-opening weekend, featured in a high-profile cover story in Rolling Stone magazine which followed him for several days during the shooting of The Scorpion King, interviewing Rock on the set of the movie as well as throughout his time in LA about life as a wrestler compared to his now acting schedule, with Rock noting the instant reaction he gets in front of a live crowd as opposed to the tedious long days on set, with JR in the latest update predicting Rock's return to WWF television by August, with him set to headline the SummerSlam pay-per-view against the now established heel Austin in the rematch of the biggest pay-per-view in industry history, with WrestleMania 17 tracking to be the first wrestling pay-per-view in history to draw over 1 million domestic buys, and while the Rock-Austin rematch is also expected to draw a huge number. Backlash just weeks later, headlined by Austin and Hunter against Taker and Kane with all the belts on the line, saw the WWF coming back to earth, with the first estimates coming in at a year low of around 400,000 buys, making the Austin-Triple H combination without Rock in at least an equally high-profile match to now have the unwanted record of main eventing the least bought pay-per-views of the year in 1999, 2000 and now 2001. With Raw dropping in viewers for 6 straight weeks between April 2nd through last Monday, on the SmackDown side the WWF continued its most unpredictable 6-week run in show history, as unlike the straightforward weekly drop on Raw, SmackDown last Thursday again rebounded over 500,000 viewers back into the 4 rating range after another year-low 3.7 the previous week, picking up from 5.9 to 6.4 million viewers to continue the unusual pattern of 3 out of the last 6 weeks drawing an average of 5.8 million viewers to make it the lowest rated run in show history, while the other 3 weeks drawing routine numbers to average 6.6 million, as things would perhaps get more consistent starting next week, with last Thursday being the season finale of some of the heavy sitcom and reality series competition SmackDown faced in the past few months to enter their rerun seasons, with Raw after closing the first hour with Matt Hardy vs. X-Pac going 6 minutes for the European title, featuring the promoted Kurt Angle medal celebration after taking his medals back from Benoit last night in a segment hyped by Angle throughout the hour as his Olympic celebration reenactment, with Kurt putting over his achievements before the celebration was interrupted by Shane McMahon, with Shane's most important point in the promo being to announce that WCW is starting soon and sooner than everyone thinks. emphasizing the point to perhaps notify lost viewers who anticipated the WCW relaunch at the start of April after the Vince Shane simulcast promo before giving up on it with no update in the following weeks, ending up with Angle laying out Shane with an angle slam off the podium as the Angle medal celebration and confrontation with Shane saw Raw picking up over 1 million viewers in total to the peak of the night 4.9 rating, the highest rated segment on the show by over a 500,000 viewers margin. And while the WCW brand is set to be pushed heavier by the week on the way to the July pay-per-view, the biggest development during the week was a publicized phone call between Scott Hall and Shane McMahon on the possibility of Hall signing as perhaps the top name in the company in time for the build-up to the July 22nd event, with Hall, who currently works in Japan, not committing to a deal with the idea of not wanting to return along with the rest of the WCW roster, and to possibly set up a separate debut later in the year or come in along with Nash as the outsiders when Nash's Time Warner contract expires in January 2002. With the TV storyline of Eddie Guerrero turning babyface to join the Hardys to set up a potential reunion with Chyna after a hint of it a few weeks back, with Eddie teaming with Jeff Hardy next in a tag match against the remaining Radicals. Some related real-life drama was going on behind the scenes on the night, with Chyna allegedly finding out about Triple H and Stephanie's relationship and confronting Hunter backstage at the Compaq Center before Raw went on the air, with her allegedly being asked to leave the building minutes later to be written off TV in what ended up her final WWF appearance before leaving the company months later after a contract dispute with JR. After almost 2 hours of hype, with the match being hyped as a career-defining match for Benoit and Jericho, with Benoit recapping the road they went through together from Mexico, Japan and WCW to this moment, with the match kicking off seconds from 11 p.m. to go the full match past the top of the hour, with the 14-minute match seeing Raw taking the longest overrun in show history to almost go a full extra quarter, as after the heavy hype throughout the night the match ended up matching expectations in the ring to put on an all-time memorable match in Raw history, seeing Jericho and Benoit going over to win the belts in what's designed as a career-elevating performance to push them into the top tier as main event players with the company amid the recent numbers looking to refresh the top of the card with new opponents, with the impact of the Benoit-Jericho victory ending up the only intentional one coming out of the match, as 2 minutes from the finish at 11:11 p.m. Triple H suffered a major knee injury with a full quadricep tear while planting his leg when saving Austin from Jericho's submission, with him working through it, having 2 final major spots for the finish of the match, with him now expected to be sidelined for the next 6 to 7 months in a major hit for the immediate direction of the product, with him expected to turn babyface and start a title program with Austin into the summer, as the match, while ending up memorable for the performance in the ring and designed to draw a big audience after a strong build-up and the longest overrun in Raw history, only picked up around 500,000 viewers to finish at a 4.5 rating, as while Raw dropped further on the night to its lowest rating in years with a 4.2 rating overall, a positive sign coming out of it due to a higher number of viewers per home, so Raw breaking the streak of 6 straight weeks of viewership drops to increase 400,000 viewers in total from the 5.3 million low of last week to over 5.7 million viewers on the night, with the hopes that the fresh program on top will stop the slide and perhaps lead to a bounce back in interest in the coming weeks.